Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing, man? Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? How we doing? Matt Antonelli here. Today, we're talking about September call-ups and my thought on it. You may not know what it is. We'll talk about it, and then I'll give you my general feeling towards September call-ups. Before we do so, today's video is powered by Triton. If you guys been following our YouTube page or Instagram page for a while, you know that Triton has supplied us with jerseys and gear for the last 5 years. They do an amazing job. They make some of the best jerseys out there. So go over to custombaseballjerseys.com. You can check out what they do. You can actually check out our jerseys over there and see if you like it. So we definitely recommend that you do so. Okay, so September call-ups. Let's talk about it. First, what is a September call-up? So when September 1st hits in the major leagues, rosters expand. So you can bring more players up to the major leagues, okay? So you have 25 guys that you can put into the major leagues during the season. That's how many guys can be on the roster on game day, okay? But when September hits, all of a sudden that goes to 40, okay? So now, we've talked about in the past the 40-man roster. I'm not going to get super into that right now. But now you can bring up guys that are on your 40-man roster. You can bring those guys up. You don't have to bring them all up. Sometimes guys don't get called up for September. But a lot of times players are going to get called up for September, okay? So the roster is going to expand. And it's going to give a lot of players opportunity that maybe wouldn't have been called up, right? Again, when you only have that 25-man roster, you know, you're limited, right? You're only limited to 25 guys. And so 15 of the guys on the 40-man are not going to be able to get called up. They're going to be in the minors, and when the minor league season ends, they're done. Remember, the minor league season ends before the major league season. So typically, you know, you might play in the playoffs in September in the minor leagues, but if you don't make the minor league playoffs, you're done before you get to September, right? August is pretty much the end of the year. So you're done. You go home. You go do something else. But now you've got an opportunity, again, if you're on the 40-man, to be called up, okay? So for me personally, and I'm biased, right? When I got called up to the big leagues in 2008, my first time getting called up, I got called up during September. So I was one of those September call-ups, okay? And, you know, it's great for me, and it's great for those teams that want to get a look at maybe some younger players, right, to see what they have for the future. Again, if they don't have that opportunity, well, then they don't know. They're going to base it off of the minor leagues. They're going to base it off of spring training, but they're not going to be able to really see them in a big league game. So it gives more guys an opportunity to continue to develop, to get some major league experience, and it gives the team a chance to say, okay, how's this guy going to do when we throw him into a major league game? This is a real life game, right? The minor leagues, yeah, it tells you about their skill set and stuff, and spring training, it does a little bit, but there's nothing like a major league game, right? So you put a guy in September, and you're able to kind of get a feel for him. Is this a guy we can count on going forward? Is this a guy that, you know, can help the team out, or is this guy not going to help us out, right? Do we have to move this guy, or does this guy need a lot more time in the minor leagues, or whatever, okay? So I think it's really, really good with that in mind, okay? Now, it does change baseball a little bit in September for a couple of reasons, okay? First of all, if you're a team that's in first place, right? If you're a team that is going to make the playoffs, well, you might treat it a little bit differently than a team that isn't going to make the playoffs, right? You might not call up as many guys because you're in a playoff race, right? Whether you've clinched already and you're getting ready for the playoffs, or you're battling it out for that playoff spot, you may not call up as many guys because you don't want to change a lot of your roster. You probably aren't going to put in some young guys and say, hey, let's see how this guy does. Not when you're in a playoff race, right? So you're probably only going to pick and choose and call up the guys that you think can really help you out, right? And maybe a couple of those guys, yeah, they're going to sit on the bench. Maybe you say, hey, we'll bring them up, give them some experience, let them be around the team. Not really going to play a whole lot, but just being around big league players and seeing what life is like, what's the daily schedule like at the major league level, give them a little bit more experience. Yeah, I get that. But you're probably not going to call up a ton of guys, and you're definitely not going to probably play a lot of guys. Maybe you call up a few more pitchers, right? Maybe you can increase your bullpen a little bit. Maybe you've got a guy that can play defense late in the game, or maybe pinch run late in the game, so some specialty players. But again, it's not going to probably be a ton of young guys that you're just going to throw out there and, hey, let's see how they play. Now, if you're a team that's out of the playoffs, right? When I got called up with the Padres, we were out of the playoffs. And so the Padres called up a bunch of guys because they threw guys in there, like I said, and say, hey, let's see how this young guy reacts to the big leagues. Let's get him some experience. Let's see what we have. Okay? So it's totally different depending on where your team is, whether you're doing really well and you're in the playoff race or already in the playoffs, or if you're doing terrible and you're out of the playoffs. Now, the other thing is, it also makes it a little bit different for teams. When a team that's going for a playoff spot, right, plays a team that's not, well, now it's different because now that team might be playing against, for instance, when I was playing with the Padres and we were playing the Dodgers who were in first place and they're getting ready for the playoffs and they're, September 1st, there's a long ways to go. They're fighting for a playoff spot. Well, all of a sudden, when they play the Padres now, they're playing like a bunch of kids, right? Like, so I was in the lineup. We had other guys that were making their major league debuts. And so it changes. This is the one interesting part about it. And again, I'm looking at this from the perspective of a kid that got called up and made his debut, so I like September call-ups. But I can see how some teams, right, all of a sudden you're playing against a team, let's say you're a Giants fan, okay, and the Dodgers are playing the Padres in a huge game, and you're like, come on, Padres, you guys got to beat them, right? We want the Giants to make the playoffs. And all of a sudden you're looking, and you're like, they're starting 5 rookies today, guys that have never played before. This is ridiculous. Dodgers are going to kill them. So it changes kind of, you play April, May, June, July, and August with one roster. And then all of a sudden September, the biggest time of the year when it's playoff time and teams are fighting, all of a sudden you're going to throw in all these random new guys and it changes the dynamic of teams. And so I can see how some people might be like, that's not real baseball. It's not what we've played the first 4 months. So I totally get that. So put in the comment section below kind of your thoughts on it. That's my thoughts. Again, I like it. I think it gives young guys a chance to get up there and let them see what they've got. And they do well, maybe they get a chance the next year. Maybe they get a spot. Maybe they make their career. Or not make their career. Obviously, you got to continue to play well. But it's all about opportunity, right? And it gives a few more players an opportunity to show what they can do and hopefully catch on with that team or maybe another team. So I'm all for it. Let me know. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are below. Share the video with all your friends, subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff. Check the description box out. We got a bunch of stuff down there as well. And that's all we have. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you later.